Hi guys, welcome back to my channel Lush Gardener. So in today's video I wanted to talk about the pot size. Now here I'm not talking about arrangements, but I'm talking about placement of individual succulents, and I have seen a lot of people tend to make this mistake, especially beginners. Now guys, the issue what I have seen a lot of people, when you tend to share your pictures, I have seen that you have a large pot like this and you just keep one succulent in the center like this. Now in most cases such placement of the succulent is not going to work out really well. A lot of times your succulent might happen to get overwatered. Now not because you are watering every day, because you can see there is a lot of space in this pot. Apart from that, a lot of soil. It's not going to be very good for one succulent. Probably you can put 3 or 4 succulents. Probably you can make a setup like this wherein you can put 3 or 4 succulents, then probably it might work out well. But please do not keep just one succulent in that. It's not going to be working out really well. I always tell you the easiest way to find out is your finger. You can use your finger as a measurement. Your pot should have only this much. This line that you see on my fingertip, it should be only this much from the succulent stem to the edge of the pot. And here, as you can see, it's quite far away, so this is not a very ideal way of putting your plant. Probably the plant will start to have issues someday or the other, especially if you are from a very humid and hot environment. So the thing what you can do is, I always suggest that you go with smaller pots. Now this pot is around 7 centimeters deep, not very wide. Now if I have to grow this succulent in this, I would rather go with a pot like this. All I have to do is just place the succulent in the center. That's all about it. And you can see that's the distance that I have in between the succulent and the edge of the pot, and this is going to work out really well for an individual succulent. So please do not use really large bowls like this for only a single succulent. Of course you can put around 5 or 6 succulents in this, but ensure that you're giving enough gap in between. So the best thing what you can do is, you can, because that's how I tend to grow most of my succulents. You can see all of them over here. They all have a fingers distance from each of them. Probably this is a little bit small, but that's absolutely okay, because the pot is not very large, the pot is not very broad. This is a small pup that I had separated from a mother plant, so that's why it has a little bit of space, but this pot is not very big as compared to this one. I cannot use that pup in this one. The pup will definitely start to have issues, so always be careful of what type of pot you are using for your succulent. A lot of people say that the succulent soil is not drying, most probably because this is too much of soil or your soil mix is very different. Drying of the soil is the most important thing. Anything that tends to trap moisture or tends to make the soil stay moist for a longer period of time, that is more dangerous. That's why I also advised you not to put any pebbles on the top layer of soil. The whole game about growing succulents is to have a soil that tends to dry faster. If you're able to master that, then trust me, it is very easy to grow succulent. The most important thing that a lot of people tend to lack is that they do not have a soil mix that tends to dry out fast. It tends to stay moist for a longer period of time. Some people have even told me that their soil mix tends to stay moist even after a week. Definitely that is not going to be a very good thing. Apart from that, you also have to reduce your watering, especially if you are from a very humid environment. Again, it all depends upon your season as well. During winters and during monsoons, the watering requirement is very less for succulents as compared to summer. So your climate also plays a very important role. But apart from all that, your soil also plays a very important. It's not that you're going to make a very dense soil mix and water once in 15 days or once in 20 days. That is not how it works. The most important thing is that your soil must dry. It's nothing related with your watering. You can probably water every 2 days, every 3 days if your soil tends to dry faster. But the main thing is that the soil has to dry. It has nothing to do with your watering. So if you are growing only one succulent, use a smaller pot. You will definitely find these pots in the market which are smaller, anywhere between 7 centimeter, 8 centimeter. Don't go for a very large pot, because that's where the problem will start. Even if you're having a very gritty soil mix, a large pot will still kind of hold a slight amount of moisture, which is not very good. For example, even in this, there is very gritty soil mix, but if I'm just going to use a small tiny pup For example, if I'm going to use this small little tiny pup in the center over here, it is not going to work out really well because this pup will start to absorb too much of moisture and eventually it will start getting rotted. So even if you have a gritty soil mix which tends to dry faster, to be on the safer side, go for a smaller pot. Don't go for a very large pot. Large pot is good only if you're using around maybe 4 or 5 succulents as I showed you in this picture. But if you're using a pot like this, a large bowl like this, then either go with 3 succulents or 4 succulents, how many ever they are fitting in this, also ensuring that there is a good amount of air circulation. But don't go with just single succulent because that will again damage your plant. So this was something that I wanted to show you guys. Always you have your finger to measure. Anything that comes up to this edge is good enough. Probably a little bit more, it's absolutely okay, but this should be good enough from your succulent to the edge of the pot, and that is going to work out really well. This is what I have been doing, but I don't know, somehow my pots always tend to turn out to be exact as per the size of the succulent. Of course, I do have smaller pots as well. In case if they don't fit in that, I move them to a smaller pot or slightly to a larger pot. This pot, probably you can use it for a mother plant. Let's say the mother plant is this huge, then probably you can use it for that, but not for a small pup. So guys, that's all about it. I hope that this video was helpful to you. If it was, please hit the like button. And if you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing to it. Until then, take care, stay safe and keep propagating.